Hi, and welcome to the Plot Twist podcast. My name is Catherine, and I'm coming to you from Berlin, Germany, which is where I grew up and where I now live with my husband and our 3 kids. This is a slow fashion podcast focusing primarily on knitting. You can find me on Instagram as Katharina Knits, on Ravelry as Frau Christ. You can also join our Ravelry group, and you can send me an email to the following address. I think it is hello@plottwistyarns.com. I'm going to link all of the pages that I just listed down below for you in the description box, as I'm going to link everything in terms of show notes in that description box for you. So everything that I talk about, my project pages, other podcasters I might mention, shows, yarns, and whatnot, is all of that good stuff is going to be linked right below this video for you, so you can find all the information you might be looking for. So, guys, it's been a while since we've seen each other, I want to say, or interacted, since I have spoken to you last, because we had our Easter holidays, or I mean, they're still, the kids are still on holiday, sort of, but so not back to school quite yet. But Easter's over, so, and we've had a lot going on in our family. So all of that real, I want to say havoc, but that's kind of a big word, but all of that chaos is over for now. So I thought I want to take a moment to sit down with you and chat to you about what I've been making and what I've been knitting on and what sort of progress I've been making, shows that I've been watching, things I've been mending, and so on and so forth. I'm happy to be back here and to be able to talk to you again and share my makes with you and the progress that I've made on my various projects. But I've been good. I've been working monogamously on my projects, plural. So, well, not quite, but I've been mostly working monogamously on one big project. And if you've been here for the last 2 episodes, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to dive right into that, but before, I'm just going to show you my one teeny tiny finished object for today. And you may remember, where is she? Oh, you may remember last time I showed you this bear that I have crocheted for my daughter for Easter. Isn't she fun? And that is a free pattern by Jillian of spinandyarn.com. Spin and Yarn. I think that's her name. It's on my project page for sure. I'm also going to leave the information down below. She has a lot of free amigurumi crochet animals on her website. So a lot of free patterns. And I decided to make this little pocket bear for my daughter for Easter. So you crochet the front and back and just crochet around to close the thing. And while you crochet around, you stuff it. And I said last time I stuffed the animal with the last little tiny dangly bits of yarns woven in on all of my knits, and I snip them off, and then I collect them in a jar and use them to stuff these animals, to go as zero waste about my makes as I can. Yeah, that's what I made. And because it was such fun, even though, like I said, it was a huge strain on my shoulders, I made another one of her little ornaments. So she has a lot of amigurumi and also ornaments. And so I picked a Christmas ornament because I thought if I make a little something from her page every once in a while and really only dedicate like one day to crochet, maybe it's not going to be as hard on my shoulders. I don't know. And with this one, the fiddly bits, I crocheted them holding the hook like a knife, so like this, like I usually do. This is how I learned it and how I've always done it. And for all those other parts where you just crochet across, I held it like how do you say that? The one's like a knife and the other is like, what is that? Like a pen, or like you crochet, like it's more delicate. Like you hold it like more delicately, pull towards you instead of to the side. What was the image that I used last time? Like a knife and like a pen? I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So you can either crochet to the side or sort of like towards you or even upwards. Or yeah, and I tried to do that because I thought maybe that would be easier on my shoulders. That's what I talked about last time, and I just wanted to add, like, I did follow through with that plan. I don't know that it did a whole lot of difference, but maybe I really have to get into that different style, and maybe that will do it for me. Anyway, so that's the little ornament that I crocheted. So I made a little Christmas tree hanger. The back is just plain green. So, and that was just a short, quick project. And maybe you can see I added beads to the front, so I sewed them on in the end. And so once everything was stuffed and everything, right? And before crocheting it shut, I added those little red and white specks that are sort of supposed to be Christmas balls, just or whatever sort of decoration on the tree. And I mean, it's okay. I mean, it looks a little funny, but it isn't too bad. And it was a tryout little piece. And I thought maybe I can crochet some more of those little trees. It's the same shade of green that I used because I really enjoy that color. And I thought I'm just gonna crochet my way across these little tree hanger patterns, you know, neck willing. And then I'm gonna have something small to like add to my kids' Christmas stuff or to give to friends or like family members on packages, on like little Christmas gifts or whatever. So that's sort of the very loose plan, but I'm not planning on making 2 every month or something like that. So I'm just trying to, you know, whenever I feel the itch to crochet a little something, I want to make one of those. She has a whole bunch of Christmas ornaments, not just trees, but a whole bunch. So that's my teeny tiny finished object. This little bear has been gifted in the meantime, and I want to say well received or like, but it hasn't quite made its way to you know, the top league of the 2-3 little stuffed companions that my daughter carries around with her. That's okay. I intended that as sort of companion for when she starts kindergarten, which is just a few months away. We're still waiting on the dates, but sometime this spring or summer she's going to start kindergarten, and I thought maybe she can take that with her. Anyway, so that's the story of those of these crochet projects. And then, so if you've been around for the last, I want to say 2, maybe it was even 3 episodes, you know which project is going to come up, and it is big. So I have to, you know, see how I can arrange this so that you can see something in a mid-row. Oh, that's not going to work. So we have to, I'm talking about my half and half triangles wrap, and I can spoil that I'm down to the last 2 stripes. See, the big triangle is attached to the last 2 stripes. And I was trying, so I'm just going to chat to you for a second while I finish that row. So I meant to have this off the needles, you know, by this podcast. The last time I said I want to finish this, shawl, blanket, schlanket by the end of May, because I don't want to carry it into summer. I just want, and not for the amount of knitting and the heat, but because I knit whatever I want to knit on it during summer. I'm not focused on like cotton or linen projects during summer. I don't do that. But I mean, I do knit with linen, but I don't care if it's a lot of yarn on my lap when it's warm out. But I just wanted that project off my mind. I didn't want to carry that that work in progress with me for too long. And I mean, I can tell you it's been a very fun project, and I can understand why people are so into it, because for a long time I didn't understand. That was before I made one. And I thought, isn't it very boring? But now I understand sort of the allure of that project. But I have to say, and someone commented that, and it's exactly how I feel about it. These last few centimeters that you have to knit, and the second triangle is getting wider and wider as you knit, right? So you start with the total amount of stitches, then you decrease down, and then with the second triangle you decrease up again, right? I'm talking about my half and half triangles wrap. Have I said that? So it's a free pattern, but on the Purl Soho website. So I'm not giving anything away in terms of construction. But so you go back to your initial total amount of stitches, and as the rows get longer and longer and longer and longer, oh my goodness, it's like I feel like I am never going to finish this project, and all that's left is not even 40 ridges. No, not even. No, it's not even 40 ridges, because it's not even 2 stripes. I'm going to tell you about my construction, like how I went about with the stripes. But in order to do that, I have to show you. And here you go. So, oh, now I realize I'm still going to be mid-row. Oh man, that's a bummer, because I'm at the end. I'm at the wrong end. Okay, so then I can just stop right here. How am I going to do this? Okay, I'm going to try and show you anyways. So, and many of you may have already seen this project. So, it's a half and half triangles wrap. Ta-da! So, you've seen how I started with this raspberry color stripe. That is the widest. I cast on 260 stitches, and then I worked my way up. This is impossible. Decreasing as I went, see? And then once I arrived up here, I changed direction. So, see? So the stripes are obviously worked horizontally, and then you start working the piece vertically with that second triangle. And I still haven't figured out how to make it so that the second triangle is also worked horizontally, like also in the same direction as this one. So if I were to stripe this now, the stripes would be at an angle, at a 90 degrees angle. Having said that, so now there is a pattern version on the website of Purl Soho, where a striped version where both of the stripes go in the same direction. I mean, apart from the fact that it's also fun to have the stripes go vertically, the second set of stripes, so that would also look good. But also the just plain gray that I chose for my second triangle, I would have liked for that to have gone in that direction, but now I didn't care enough so that I would have gone through all of the trouble to figure out. And, I didn't want to spend days on that. But now it's more a thing, like, I'm just curious. I just want to know how this works, right? How you get for the second triangle to go in this direction as well. But maybe I'm not so curious as to have retraced every step in this addition to the pattern. Anyways, so that would be the first place to go, obviously. Also now, it's way too late because I'm almost done. But so you start with these little rows, and then you increase, And I want to say like up until here, it's fast progress. I mean, comparatively. And then, oh man, then, then it really, this is the kind of a drag, the end. I really have to say, and I put in this, my project, no, hold on, Progress Keeper. It's a little sewing machine. Maybe I could show you if I maneuver this, see? So I have been moving this up sort of every day to motivate me and see how much I gotten done that day and you know, and so on. Also, it motivates me that now this is what's on my needles, and all of this is basically already off my needles, right? So basically the entire shawl is off the needles, and I'm just closing up this. So this is the last, not even two stripes that I still need to close up. So I am here. So I've just worked my way up until here. This is where I have my little light bulb stitch marker to indicate where I need to increase one stitch and work my German short row. And you see I'm already past here, the line where my two stripes clash, meet, however you want to call that. And so every stripe consists of 20 rows, 20 garter ridges. So it doesn't look like it's a lot that I still have to knit. But let me tell you, this is not fast progress. Yeah, yeah, so I just recounted because now I felt like, is it less? No, it's 20 ridges. So it's 40 rows and I per stripe, because I obviously started with that raspberry color, and 20 garter ridges is what I got from one ball of yarn. Exactly. So, and I thought perfect, because then the math that I had to do was very easy. So 260 stitches. So because you decrease away to the very last stitch, I was left with 13 stripes of 20 garter ridges each. So that was easy. And that was what I did. And I have to say, like I said last time, I am so happy with those colors that I collected. I mean, it was a play as you go sort of thing. It was a pick whichever color you think might work next. And I am so happy with those jewel tony ones, but also with this light pink, which is exactly the shade that I really love. I'm also glad I included a little pop of color so it doesn't get too moody. A pop of a brighter color is what I mean. And also a little bit of that greeny teal color like down here, so as to give it a little more of the variety in terms of color palette. I love this. And like I said last time, this looks very colorful, but it's honestly going to go with everything that I own. Like I cannot think of one item of clothing that I think it wouldn't work with as far as colors go. So this is very much my color palette right here. Not that I planned that, but that sort of project I think brings out where you're at, the colors you gravitate towards, and that also play well together. That's usually what you always reach for, right? You can also see a little bit in the sweater that I'm wearing today. So that's my Stripes sweater by Andrea Mowry. And again, there is this tealy greeny color in there, a dark, so that's a homespun house. That is the Loving Path, the Blood Moon colorway on her non-superwash. That's a colorway she doesn't dye anymore, Molly of Homespun House. And this is her Molly's Folklore colorway. So that's the colors of that sweater. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. Again, I enjoy stripes. I think stripes are just generally very happy. And I see there is a sort of a theme going on, if I do say so myself. And that makes me very happy. What else do I want to say? So I think, oh man, the needles that I'm using, it might be 3.5 millimeters. I think it's 3.5. It's on my project page for sure. And the yarn, almost all of it is Rama Finul, a Norwegian non-superwash yarn, because I wanted a non-superwash shawl / blanket. I love the feel of that in my hands. I knew the yarn before, and I wanted to just play with its colors because it comes in so many colors. And now my local yarn store here in Berlin, they have the entire collection. Like, they have all the colors of Rama Finul. And so I thought, why not just play with that yarn? I am super happy I did. And I could use up a bunch of scraps for the stripes. For instance, like this color is a Jameson & Smith jumper weight 2-ply, as is this and this one. And that may have been it. And this is Mominoki, a Berlin dyer. And it's all a non-superwash yarn quality. It's all the same. Like, it all feels exactly the same. It's beautiful together. Yeah. And all the rest is Rama Finul. If you're interested in all the colorways and also then go to my Ravelry project page, because I listed the yarn and colorway and how many grams I used of yarn for every stripe. And I counted them. Like, the first one is the longest, and the number 13 is the tiny one up on top. Right? So in the direction of knitting, I listed all of the color ways, the yarns, and like just how much yarn I used as a sort of a reference to me for, if I were to knit one of those again, then I know which scraps I can or cannot use, or just roughly how much I'm going to need altogether, but also like individually. Because for altogether, I could have just waited in the end, but I wanted a bit more information. But also as sort of a point of reference for you guys, because I would have found it interesting had I been had the chance to look at a page on Ravelry where someone really listed like how much they used for their stripes. That would have been fun, helpful, informative. I don't know. I would have just appreciated that. And maybe there's a page out there, probably there is. But I thought I'm just going to track sort of how much I used and then just put it up there. So if any of you have any questions or interested in that or want to reference that for their own project, then just hop on over there and all the information should be right there. And if not, just leave a comment and ask away, and I'll try and answer that. And so that's the last yarn ball that I have left for the gray. I think it's the 5th. It should be the 5th. So, and these are 50 grams each. So that means I'm almost through 200 grams, and this would be the 5th ball. And I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's even, you can even call it yarn chicken, because I mean, the numbers already sort of speak against me. So it's not even a race is what I'm saying. So this, like I said, this initial stripe, this was the very first one I knit, should have the exact same stitch count and as the correspondent piece that I am going to be knitting on this gray second triangle. So this ball is already spoken for because it will be this stripe, just you know, in gray. And this is what I have left of my current and fourth yarn ball. Is not going to be enough for this entire thing right here, from here to here, because it's not going to last me through almost the entire second stripe, right? And so that's a problem. So now I have to go buy a 6th skein ball, which I didn't see that coming, that I would run out of the gray. And then I think, I don't know, but I don't have another one of those stashed away somewhere. And then I caught myself thinking, oh, I have a gray yarn ball from Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. Why don't I just use that? So that might just be enough with those 25 grams. And I thought, no, I'm not going to mess up this project that has, like, where so much knitting has gone into that project. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I'm not going to mess up this project just because I'm too cheap to buy another ball that cost me €6.20 for a project that has, you know, that is just gigantic and that I've been working on forever now, what it feels like. And interestingly, still haven't lost steam on, so it's still fun to work on it. I'm not going to just smuggle a slightly different tone gray in there, because that's just always going to bug me, and it's always going to, I don't know, feel like a very cheap compromise. So I will have to purchase this one skein, which annoys me because, well, but okay, I'm just going to have to do it. And then I'm going to be very happy about the results. And this is just going to look fantastic. So as I said, I would have loved to have been ready now, but these two guys are still left, and I cannot understand just how much knitting that is. I mean, I know it, but and I feel it in my bones, but it's sort of insane because I have been knitting on this forever, and I keep moving my little stitch marker and progress keeper, and I think, like, every night I count my garter ridges that I've done, and sometimes it's 3 and sometimes it's 5, but sometimes it's 12. I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like, that's a lot of knitting. And then you see your, like, a handful of centimeters that you've done, and that is such a good feeling. And then the next day I sit there and I feel like I haven't made any progress at all. How can that be? And I timed myself yesterday how much time it needs me for one entire garter. It takes me to knit one entire garter ridge. And I landed on 14 minutes, 14 and a half. So let's say 15, because the rows are getting longer. So that means I can squeeze 4 garter ridges into 1 hour. And yesterday I had 40 left. So that was still another 10 hours of knitting. And I thought, this cannot be true. Like, how is this possible? How can I still have 10 hours of knitting ahead of me? And then I thought, okay, so if I plow through, it's going to be off the needles before I know it. And then this entire project is going to be off my mind. And that's going to be so amazing. But I have really been working on this monogamously for the very most part. Like, for the longest time, I've worked on this monogamously. And I have not had to force myself, which is interesting, because there comes a point when you want to cast on something new and something. So this is how I store it. I roll it up. And you want that, a new challenge or a new project, or something new to, you know, something new and engaging and fun, and, you know, just to change it up. But no, yes, that is there too, but it's not like I didn't have to physically, like, force myself to not cast on something new. It's not like I was digging up the needles I needed to start another project, you know? Weird. Interesting though. and fun. And well, so that's that. And then I wanted to also show my Alpaca Shawl some love, and apparently I'm at the end of one yarn ball here as well. So again, if you need more information on this project, then check out one of the earlier videos, which is where, because I've shown this on several episodes now, but it's grown. And so I'm talking about my Alpaca Shawl, which I'm going to show you in a second, and then I'm going to explain everything. So here it is. It's the edge that I'm holding is the one that's going to go around the neck, and it's worked in stripes. I'm going to hold it up close so you can see. And the stripes, once the piece is finished, are going to be exactly like it is now. So they're going to go at an angle, sort of sideways, right? And there's the tip right there. So this is going to be a triangular shawl. And by now it's also grown in size. Not so much so that it goes all the way around. So this part right here is going to grow much longer. Not quite as long as the thin stripes, but maybe half, like this much. I would definitely need this much on the other side so as to have a decent size, sort of, that you can wrap around. Then again, it will block a little, it will stretch a little bit with wear and washing and whatnot. But so that's this project, and I'm using up old, maybe oldest stash with that white or cream colored, whatever, alpaca DK weight. It's called Fair Alpaca. And I have a decent amount of this yarn in my stash. And now I'm so glad I've never gotten rid of this, because it's a dream. I mean, this is, and I say that every time, but I really am not kidding you. This is the softest thing that I've ever knit in my life. I have never held something as soft in my hands, honestly, really honestly. And the contrasting color is a scrap from my Velicore that I knit. It was a contrasting color, a brown tone that I don't know, that just isn't my color. And I had scraps left over, and I think it works beautifully with that sort of creamy white color. So I decided to work in stripes, in those thin stripes, so just one garter ridge of each color, until I had just a little bit left, and then I went for double the amount of so double the width of the stripes, so 2 garter ridges each, which you can see right here. And then when I run out of this contrasting yarn, which is Isaya Ecoline, so it's 100% undyed Alpaca 2 in the color E7S. There we go. Then I just wanted to knit all white just until the end and garter. And when I was actually at that point, I thought, hold on, wouldn't it be fun to give it a bit of a texture so as to add a little interest? And I wanted something that would look fun, slanted. So I didn't want a leafy sort of lace that then if you tilted it sideways, it would look funny, or it would really look sort of upside down. But I wanted something that would work both that way and that way. And so I just went with that eyelet pattern and tried to maintain the 2x2 what's it called? Sequence, if you will. So 2 garter ridges and then another 2 garter ridges in a different color. And here I went for 2 garter ridges and then the eyelet section that is roughly the width of 2 garter ridges, of, you know, 2 rows. So that an entire repeat would again be double the amount of the stripes as they were here. So because I went from 1 by 1 to 2 by 2, and now it's sort of 4 by 4, right? Does that make sense to you? Well, I can see it. Maybe you can see it too. There was a little intermission because my husband called and I had to answer. So, okay. So I was saying that I was debating also knitting 1 eyelet repeat and then 4 garter ridges so as to also sort of stripe this section. But then I thought that was too much of, not too much of a headache, because it's not a hard thing to do. But I thought, no, I'd rather have this white section be all sort of uniform, be all one texture, and that goes on through to the end. And because this already is sort of a stripy affair, right? I mean, I see this as really a combination of stripes as well. So anyway, that's my alpaca shawl, and it's last time we spoke, I must have been somewhere here. So I think I had knit 3 broader or wider stripes. So this is what I did in the meantime. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it gives the shawl a bit of a different feel now that this section has been started. Also, it's a relatively quick knit because I usually knit with fingering weight, and so this is DK. So this goes by a lot faster. It's engaging and yet mindless. So yeah, it's fun. And I just designed this sort of off the cuff as I went. And yeah, that's been a fun project. So that's the kitchen project. That's the one that I keep in the kitchen, just by my seat. So if you've been following along for a bit, you know that I always keep something in the kitchen so that I don't get, you know, my hands on a few free minutes and then without the kids, and then have to walk across the entire corridor to go to the living room to get my project and knit a little bit. Because once I pass the kids' room or whichever room they're in, they're definitely going to want something. And then my little time slot that window will just have closed before I know it. So there's no way. That's what's keeping me from knitting. And I'm keeping this in my tote bag from the London Review bookshop, which I got at the Brooklyn Book Festival back when I was in New York. So that was in 2014. Oh my goodness. How can it have been this long ago? Blows my mind. But, okay. Oh, yes. Now, onto a different project that I have not made progress on just during those last few weeks, but I definitely want to go back to working on. And now, this has been in my project bag so that it's all messy and, well, not the beautiful cake that it once was. But I'm going to try and show you the colors for that project anyways. And please excuse the little mess that I've made here. That's what happens when you keep your stuff in a project bag for too long. Don't really take care of it like you should. Don't knit on it monogamously. That's what happens. But you can still see the colors and they are gorgeous. See. So this is a very rich purple. This is a very rich purple with dark, so it's a tonal, right? With these dark spots in it. And this is a corresponding pink. In German, we would say sort of old pink, dusty pink, rose color. On my screen, it looks a little yellowy now. It's the same color family, just lighter. And these are Frida Fuchs yarns. This is their DK base. Oh, wrong project bag. Hold on. Oh man, where's my tags? Where are my tags? Ah, right there. So this is their Wonneproppen DK base. I'm going to link that down below for you. Frida Fuchs is a Berlin hand dyer team. And they gave me 4 of those skeins of yarn. So the dark color is Schwarzes Basilikum and the lighter is Mariendistel. I'm going to put the information down below for you. They have beautiful yarn. And I asked them quite a while ago, I have to admit. So I have to admit that it has taken me that long to knit not as much on this. And that's not because of the yarn. The yarn is amazing. It's just because of me, because I have had too many things going on at once. I'm designing, oh no, hold on. That's the way, that's the right side up. I'm designing a shawl with this beautiful yarn, and you can see that it's also garter bumps, but not entirely, but the ridges don't always align. So that's where the pattern comes in, right? The pattern is designed in such a way that the texture highlights different colors in the same ridge. You can see how it's a little bit, how it oscillates a little bit. I hope you can see that. Maybe you can. Maybe you can see it if I hold it back. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. See? Maybe you can see it a little bit. So at any rate, it's going to be a triangular shawl. So I have done a lot of knitting on it, right? It's just not finished yet. So it's going to be quite deep. I want for mine to be big because I don't do small, tiny one skein shawls just because I'm a tall person and I like the volume around my neck. Not everybody likes it. I love it. So triangular shawls give you a lot of volume, so that's why I went for that. And this pattern is fun to knit. It is engaging, but it is also pretty mindless, I feel like. It's just knits and purls, not too much purling, so don't you worry. And the reason why I'm showing you this, again, let me try and hold it a little closer so you get an idea. So I'm sorry guys, I'm a little out of breath now because I had to quickly run down and take something downstairs to give to my husband, who is just on his way through from work. It doesn't matter, it's not interesting, but so that's why I ran up and down the stairs, and that's why I need to look. And now I'm back. So the reason that I was showing you this project, even if I have not been working on it actively now over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I don't know. But you've seen it before, so if you've been here for a while, you've seen that project before. I'm holding it upside down again, just because that's where the needles are. So that's how it's supposed to be. The reason I'm showing you this is because I'm looking for testers. So this is a pattern I'm going to eventually put on Ravelry. And I have now sent it to tech editing, and I've gotten it back. And so now it's ready to be tested out in the wild. In the meantime, I'm going to finish mine. It shouldn't be that long now. I mean, it's more than halfway done, I want to say. So yeah, I'm going to finish knitting mine. And in the meantime, I would love it if some of you would like to knit it. And if that is the case, just, well, the best way would be to shoot me an email. And you can find the email address below. I can also say it again. It's hello@plottwistyarns.com. And that would be super fun. Maybe someone's interested in test knitting that shawl. So if you're looking for a project that will is a little bit engaging, but not too much so. So it's easy enough to follow, to watch TV in the meantime, but it's not pure garter stitch back and forth for a few weeks. So yeah, if that's your thing and you do want to try that and have me send you the pattern so you can test it, please do let me know. I would obviously greatly appreciate it. And yeah, maybe there's someone out there who feels like they want to try. So if that's the case, please just let me know. And so that would be wonderful. And here's my project bag that this project lives in. This is a beautiful, I can only say it again and again and again, a beautiful project bag with leather straps and a sort of a canvas or linen bag. It's pretty sturdy, that I've received in the last fiber share package. Hold on. Can't have been the last but one. Well, it doesn't matter. The third or fourth round of fiber share that I ever participated in, and that was pre-COVID. And I don't think they have not taken that up since, unfortunately. And that I got that in my package. It's made in my backyard. It's beautiful. The maker makes these bags and also prints the fabric. So they're hand printed. That's what I understand. They're beautiful. And when I linked the page just a few weeks ago for a different podcast video, where I also showed the bag, I was very tempted to just grab one of those, from the ones that she had on for sale at the moment. And I thought, no, hold on, stop it. You can't, go there now. You can't just start ordering project bags from abroad like a crazy person. But, because I really have enough, but it's beautiful. It was such a treat. It's a beautiful bag. Oh yes, and for mending, so I cannot show you my one big mend of the week. Then I mended, I finished mending it, I think on Monday. Yeah, Easter Monday, so 2 days ago. That one, I can't show you because it's on a little person's body right now. So my middle son had his jeans, his pants, and they have lining, so they were perfect for winter weather with tights, and then now for and I wanted to say fall weather, but spring weather, because spring has sprung sort of, I want to say, not quite, but almost, in Berlin. So he still needs pants that are a little bit warmer, so those are really perfect. So that was a mend that had to be quick and that couldn't wait. But his not entire, but just like generally the bottom area, so his entire bum had worn sort of thin, that the fabric. Not all over, but enough so that I was afraid that it might just rip in some places. And it's really cool pants. So both of the boys have worn them so much, and I would really like for them to be still intact come fall. And I thought, okay, so what do I do? Because it looks sort of weird if I just put like a huge piece of jeans fabric on his butt. That might just look stupid, I thought. Because like as in a knee patch, just bigger. And I thought, no, that's maybe not such a good idea. It would have looked weird with that particular sort of pair of pants. But also I didn't have another fabric that would look fun and also be robust enough. And then I thought, okay, so hold on, because the fabric is not quite gone. It's not that it's so thin, but thin enough that it needs some, support. And I thought if I darned it like I would darn a sock, just a little more loosely, maybe that would work. And so I picked 3 different colors: a dark blue, a sort of blue, so a lighter jeans blue, and a darker green, so that it would be colorful but not flashy. And I just went well, sort of over the fabric, under the fabric, over the fabric, under the fabric, and just wove my way through the fabric all the way. What's the word? I don't mix up left and right, but I mix up vertical and horizontal. So vertically with the dark blue, then horizontally with the blue sort of, but so that it would be sort of like a cross. So it went up further. I didn't crisscross it all the way, but just the middle section. So there would be sort of I don't know, a square in the middle where the two sort of stripes would overlap, and then on either side there would be a bit a piece where it's only horizontal weavings, sort of, is that how I say it, where the thread is only woven horizontally, and then on the top of and bottom where it's only woven vertically. So if that makes sense to you, I hope it does. And I'm sorry I can't show you, maybe another time, but he needed those pants. He loves those pants, so they're back on him today. And with the green, I mended a section near the back pocket that had really rubbed through a little bit, where I could, however, still save it with that very same method, but I did it all in the green. And the green sort of overlapped a little bit with the top corner of the dark blue, so that looked fun. And yeah, so that was the entire magic. It wasn't rocket science, just a little mend to give that jeans fabric a little more stability. I'm surprised it's lasted that long, because both of my boys have worn those pants a lot. So and now it's definitely going to live on, and I hope my daughter will one day. She's 3 years younger, so maybe she will one day wear those pants, because they're really, I imagine them to be very comfy. Like, they have such a nice lining and they look so cute on. And they're not super tight, like they're adjusted just with an elastic, so they don't even have buttons or zippers or anything. So they might be really cool to play. It must be really cool to play in. So that was my mending project for, well, over the Easter holidays, basically. And other than that, I mean, I can only now talk about what I've been watching real quick and what I've been finding out, because I've said a few times now on the podcast that I wonder why it is that Bridgerton, the third season of Bridgerton isn't out yet, because I figured it was always in March or spring, or when spring was just right around the corner, or something like that. And it occurred to me the other day again that we're still waiting for Bridgerton to, come back, sort of. And I Googled it and I found out that apparently, so the third season is obviously coming, but apparently only in fall, which, that's a long time. So I'm going to have to wait for all the way through summer, or winter if it's, getting colder where you are. And then sometime, I'm guessing around September, October, the new season is going to roll around the corner. And it had to be, because it's been delayed, because Shonda Rhimes, the producer, apparently, from what I read, felt that the third season was a bit too gloomy, a bit too dark, and she wanted for a bit of a lighter tone, sort of. I figured that's how I understood it, and so they had to reshoot a handful of scenes. But so if you have to reshoot parts of a movie or of a series, that's a whole lot of that. So that really does account for that sort of delay. That's a huge part in that production. So anyway, it's coming, but it's apparently only coming in what I think of as fall. So September, October, we'll see. Fingers crossed that it won't be further delayed. So, yeah. And apparently I've never read those books, but apparently Benedict would be the next sibling in line now to have his turn. And apparently they're flipping the sequence. And now it's supposed to be Colin and Penelope's turn, which I think was indicated, was hinted at in season 2, and that's fun because I have to say, I think Colin is sort of my favorite Bridgerton sibling, so that would be fun. And Penelope, well, that's obvious. Okay. And and also that would mean that we would see more of Lady Featherington, and she's obviously very fun. So that would also be sort of a perk of that, of the switching of the sibling sequence. Anyway, so excuse the super geeky talk, but that's that. So yeah, another another show, and that's just a recommendation now from my part. You've heard me talk about the show before, but I had the chance to already watch season 3 of The Great, and oh my goodness, if that's your sort of humor, because you have to be the person for it, you have to be the person to enjoy The Great. But if that sort of dry, dark, sarcastic humor is your thing, you're really going to love it. It's a hell of a season. I mean, season 3 is really amazing. I think it might be the last, but so that would be a huge recommendation. Obviously, seasons 1 and 2 first. If you haven't watched them, definitely watch them first. So it's not the sort of show where you can enter whenever, because you're not going to follow, I assume. But yeah, so that would, again, once more be a hell of a recommendation from my part, provided it's your sort of gem. But well, you're gonna have to see for yourselves. And then, yes, just like last time, I've been watching the Gilmore Girls for the, I don't know, 11th time. I've watched the Gilmore Girls so many times, I would be at a total loss to tell you like how many times. However, I've usually stopped after season 5 because I feel that season 6 is all of a sudden very different in tone. The colors are somehow different. The whole style is different. Gilmore Girls are definitely a show that changes a lot over the seasons. And especially when you take into account the sort of newer episodes that came out, A Year in the Life. So those 4 movies, if you will, that were shot 10 years later or whatever it was. It's not a show like Friends, where the first and last episode is where they just match up in every way, where it's like 10 seasons have been written in one go. But well, many things change over the course of the Gilmore Girls, but between seasons 5 and 6, they changed so abruptly that it was always a turnoff for me. So I have never really enjoyed season 6, and so for that reason, I very often skipped it. And also season 7, I had my issues with. Still do. I've skipped, to be honest, I've skipped half of season 6 because I still don't enjoy it. I still don't like many of the episodes. Also, many of the dialogues, it's just not the same. Like I don't know. Isn't that also a period when it was written by someone else? But also the things that Amy Sherman Palladino ended up writing again, they end up being different. I don't know. It's lost its initial sort of spark and rootedness, if that makes sense to you. At a certain point, the show tries to be something that it doesn't work. I don't know. But well, anyway, so the ending of season 6, I think, is fun again. And then I've now started season 7, and it's fun to rewatch it. I have to say that. So it's fun to rewatch. Maybe a treat to myself that I haven't watched it as often as I've watched the other ones. And yeah, so yeah, I'm glad to rewatch it now to round this entire thing up entirely. And I think I'm going to watch The Year in the Life after that also, but I already know the parts that I'm going to skip over. Like this huge therapy session with Lorelai and Emily, the musical production, this weird thing that Rory and Colin and all those guys are doing in the street, and and Kirk and his pig. I don't know. I don't think it really works, but some of the things do work. And so, yeah, I just allow myself to take in those parts that I can enjoy, and just omit those that I don't enjoy, and then that's that. So yeah, that's what I've been watching. Many of the watching of the Gilmore Girls has been happening as I was knitting on the half and half triangle strap. Yeah, and I think that's what's going to keep me company over those next 10 hours that I still have to invest in my shawl until it's done. I'm saying that like it's a chore. It's not. It's fun. But you know that I'm just at that stage where I want to finish a project and where the fun is wearing off a little bit. And often, those projects, just like shawls, where they tend to be, where the rows tend to be the largest at the end, the longest at the end. Oh, those are just the ones that you plow through for, the sake of plowing through, right? So that's sort of where I'm at. So yay for the Gilmore Girls to keep me company. Yeah, well, I hope that next time that I speak to you, I will be able to show you the entire bound off blanket. That would be so much fun. And also have cast on something new or worked on one of my other projects. Maybe I might test knit shawl. I should really now show this shawl some love. Okay, so that's it for today. That's all I have to share with you. I wanted to leave one thing here with you. If you feel like it, I would very much appreciate it if you just took a half a minute and drop me a line down below in the comment section to tell me where you're from. Because I know that many of the viewers of this podcast are from the States, in which case I'd be interested in where from the States you're from. But there are also viewers from other countries in the world. So if you feel like it, and I would very much appreciate it, please just tell me where you're from. If I don't know, if it's a well-known city, like, I don't know, Berlin, Paris, just drop that. If it's a country, if you want to just indicate, say that, or if you want to indicate the state that you're from, or wherever it is, I would be super interested in seeing where everybody is from. I mean, I have interacted with many viewers, and I do have an idea of, who's watching, but obviously, I mean, there are more and more viewers with every video, and most of the people I have not spoken to personally, so I would be very interested in just getting an idea of where you're from. Yeah, that would be super fun for me. So I really, really appreciate it if you just quickly told me. Don't have to write anything else if you don't feel like it or don't have the time for it. But so that would be super fun. So thank you if you take the time to do that. Also, thanks for letting me hang out with you today, for letting me keep you company, for checking in. And apparently, if you see this sticking or till the very end, staying till the very end, you might as well like and subscribe below. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and tell your friends about it. No. But I hope you've enjoyed the episode and feel like coming back. And I'll be back in about roughly 2 weeks' time. Okay, so happy knitting until then. Happy transitioning into the next season. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.